Number 1. Solve for k. The equation is c equals 8 over 3 all times k minus 46. Now notice we have more than one letter in this equation. What we need to do is highlight the letter that we're solving for so we know everything has to be moved away from that. First thing we take care of is this fraction that has to be moved first. To get rid of the fraction, we can multiply both sides by the reciprocal of that. Reciprocal is just a fraction flipped upside down, so we're going to multiply both sides by 3/8. So here we have 3 over 8 times c equals 3 over 8 times 8 over 3. 3 over 8 times 8 over 3 is just 1. A reciprocal times the original fraction is just 1. So we have 3ac equals k minus 46. Now all we do to get k by itself is add 46 to both sides, and the answer is going to be 3 over 8c plus 46 equals k. Notice how I didn't change capital C anywhere or lowercase k. I kept it that way throughout the whole problem. You have to keep it that way throughout the whole problem too. We can't just make the c lowercase or the k capitalized, or else it changes the equation. Number 3 says solve the equation for y and then find the value of y for each value of x. So let's take a look at what we're given. We're given an equation here, 3x minus 7y equals 13. And then our values of x are -3, 0, and 3. So once we solve this for y, then we will take each of these and substitute it in for x to find y. So first let's solve for y. So since I'm solving for y, that's the letter I'm going to highlight. And I'm going to move everything away from that. First step there would be to subtract 3x from both sides. Do your adding and subtracting before you're multiplying and dividing. We'll have -7y equals 13 minus 3x. Again, keep that y highlighted. Now we divide everything by -7. So my equation is going to be y equals 13 minus 3x over -7. Now we're going to substitute in our values of x to find each of those answers. So, starting with x being -3, I'm going to substitute in -3 for x. So I'll have -3 going in here, so I have 13 minus 3 times -3. Do the multiplying here first. -3 times -3 is +9. So I'll have 13 plus 9 up top, which leaves me with 22. So my answer is going to be, or my first answer is going to be 22 over -7. Keep it as a reduced fraction. Now let's substitute in 0 for x. So we have 13 minus 3 times 0. -3 times 0 is 0. So 13 minus 0 is just 13. So 13 over -7. So my second answer is going to be y equals 13 over -7. Substituting in 3 for my third answer, I'll have 13 minus 3 times 3. So that will be -3 times 3, which is -9. So 13 minus 9 is 4. So then 4 over -7 will be the answer. So my third answer is going to be y equals 4 over -7. So now I'm going to show you how to type all of that in. So it's a fraction. So you have 13 minus 3x over -7 for my equation. Now when it says when x equals -3, the value of y is, that's what we got when we substituted in -3. That was 22 over -7. Now it says when x equals 0, the value of y is. So that would be the 13 over -7 that we got. And then it says when x equals 3, the value of y is, that's the 4 over -7. And that's number 3. Number 4. Solve the equation for y. We have yw plus yq equals r. And like I said, we're solving for y, so let's highlight the y's. Now notice that y is being multiplied by w and being multiplied by q. So the first step would be to undo that multiplying, which is called factoring. So we're going to undo that multiplying. So we're going to y on the outside of a parenthesis. Now we're going to undo that multiplying. You divide both of these by y, all you're left with is w for the first one. Divide both of these by y, all you're left with is q. So we'd have w plus q equaling r in parentheses. What we did was we undid distributing. So now what we're going to do is we still need to solve the equation for y. Notice all of this is being multiplied to y. We need to move all of that away from it. And all of that is being multiplied to y. So undoing multiplying, we divide. So we divide both sides by w plus q. W plus q's go away on this side. And all we're left with is y equals r over w plus q. And that's going to be the answer. Number 5. Solve the formula for the indicated variable. We have x equals b minus g over v, and we're solving for b. So let's highlight the b, so we know everything else has to move away from it. Seeing how this is in a fraction, we should get rid of that fraction first. So to do that, we cross out the v and bring it to the other side and multiply it to x. So we'll have vx equals everything that's left over here after crossing the v out, which is b minus g. Again, we're still solving for b, so to solve for b, we got to move this g. It's being subtracted, so we add g on both sides. So then we'll have vx, capital X, remember, plus g equals b, and that's going to be the answer. Number 7. We are solving a equals p plus prt for r. So highlight the r, and now we got to move everything away from that. So the first thing we got to do is get this whole term here by itself. So that means we got to move this away from it. To do that, we subtract p from both sides because it's positive and in the front, and these two terms are being added. So we'll have a minus p equals prt. Again, we're trying to get the r by itself. Now we notice that p, r, and t are all being multiplied to each other. To undo multiplying, we divide. So to get r by itself, we divide p and t on both sides. So our answer is going to be a minus p over pt equals r.